Sandra. Sandra is my best friend on TikTok. My Puerto Rican best friend on TikTok. I am so happy to meet this woman and talking online and just getting to know, all this past year. So welcome, Sandra.
Gracias. Thank you for having me.
Of course. I'm really excited to have you. And I want to talk a little bit about you. We want to share with the audience who Sandra is. So Sandra is a Puerto Rican woman who moved from the island in 1989 with hopes of returning to Puerto Rico one day, but never did. She now resides in Wisconsin, where she works as a medical billing specialist by day and as an actor on the side in community theater, semi-professional theater, and occasionally in film. She is the mother of two daughters, ages 23 and 17, and is on a quest to always learn new things and develop her spirituality, and is eager to share her experiences to inspire other women to know that it's never too late to do what you love and to learn new things in life. She resides in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, with her current husband, Michael, who is also a well-known actor and director in the southeastern Wisconsin area. That's how they met. Sandra, I really resonate with what you said. It is never too late. That is exactly how I feel. And I think that's also why we relate to each other so much. So is this a philosophy that you've had throughout your life, or have you changed that? Talk to me about when did you realize that you wanted to share this with the world?
Well, I never say never. Okay, that's another motto that I go by. And yeah, that's how you and I connected, because I saw that you later in life decided to release a song. And I'm like, this woman and I, that we are kindred spirits.
Yes.
So, yes, I started everything later in life. While my friends were married with children, I was still single and living the life. I married later in my 30s and had my daughters at ages 35 and 40. So I believe truly that it's never too late to do the things that you want to do. Then at age 50, a friend put the seed in my head of, why don't you try acting? And ever since then, and we can go into that a little bit more in detail later if you wish, but ever since then, I felt that, yeah, it's never too late. If you want to try something new in life, don't let society dictate if you are too young or too old to do those things. You can always start something new. You can always learn something new every day. And that's how I try to live my life. And I want to share and encourage women to do that too.
That is amazing. And I 100% agree with you. I want to learn more about this acting journey. Is this something that your friend told you because she saw an actress in you? Have you tried acting maybe when you were little and then, it went dormant, and then at 50 years old, you realized, right, this is one of my callings. Is that what happened?
Okay. So when I was in 8th grade, I went to a private Catholic school in my hometown of Mayagüez, Puerto Rico. And in the 8th grade, we had a Christmas pageant. And I had the lead of the Christmas pageant, where I was a little girl. I was in pajamas and on stage with pigtails and freckles drawn in my face. And I was waiting for Santa Claus to arrive. And in this pageant, they showed Christmas traditions from all around the world. So that was Christmas in 8th grade. So when I go to high school in 9th grade, there was a drama club there. And because I had done this thing in 8th grade, I thought, that would be a great thing for me to do. But happened that, and no shade to my high school. I love my high school. I love my alma mater, okay? But this drama club in my high school was a little bit exclusive and cliquey. And I auditioned and I didn't feel exactly welcomed. Maybe I was a teenager. Maybe I was insecure. But I didn't feel like it was a good fit. So I didn't pursue it any longer. So then, fast forward to 2015, my oldest daughter was involved in theater in her high school. And I went to see one of her shows. It was the Addams Family musical. And I was sitting, and I had met, because my daughter had been involved at a local theater the year before, I had met some people at this local theater, and I was with the artistic director who choreographed my daughter's show. And I was sitting with her doing the show, and at intermission, I get up and I'm still singing and going like this with the music of the musical. And she asked, "Have you ever thought of being in a show?" And I laughed. I'm like, I haven't been on a stage since the 8th grade, which looking back wasn't exactly true because I had taken a Middle Eastern dance class in the early 2000s, and we had dance recitals with that class. So I had been technically on a stage, but not in an acting capacity. So I said to her, I haven't been on a stage since the 8th grade. And she said, "So what? You should give it a try. You should try and see. It's fun. You know, it's community theater. Everybody's welcome." And at first I was like, do I really want to do this? But then I thought about it. I looked into it. I started to do a lot of research online on how to audition, how to prepare, do's and don'ts of actors that actors should do. And I contacted a voice coach, voice teacher, and I went to her and I said, "I want you to find me a song that I can use for an audition and help me prepare for it, because I don't want to embarrass myself. And if you feel like I should not at all be singing in a show, I accept that. You know, I'll accept my limitations." But she found me a song and she helped me prepare, and I went on audition and I got the part. And here we are in 2023, 8 years later, and 22 shows later.
That is amazing. I love it. I love it.
It has been an incredible journey. I have done anything from musicals, which was where I started. And I've done a few of those. I've done straight plays where, you know, I'm a character with lots of lines, or not that many lines, but I've done performance pieces that are devised, which that means that there's a group of people that collaborate and create the piece. It's not a traditional script, but a piece that is created right there. And stage readings, where you don't have to memorize the entire script. It's more, everybody stands around on the stage with a stand and reads from the script. You don't have to memorize, but you still want to infuse life to a character. And I've done film. I've been an extra in about 3 films. So, yeah.
That is impressive. I mean, 8 years and you've done all of this.
Yes.
I want to ask, do you think that because this group that was exclusive and did not welcome you when you were 8 years old, do you think that the inner child, that child, Sandra, lost hope and, you know, just didn't feel like there was a place for her in acting because of that?
That's possible. That's possible that I put that aside. It was in 9th grade. I put that aside. I said, there's no room here for me, so I'm going to leave that out of my life in the back burner. And I really, I actually once in Puerto Rico, but this was like a matter of luck more. I had a friend that worked for a publicity agency, a PR agency, public relations, and she was looking for a woman in her 40s to do a commercial for a local breast care clinic. And she wanted my mother to do it. But my mother is like, I'm not going to do that. So I said, you know, if I dress appropriately and do makeup and hair appropriately, I can pass as older. Because I had that issue when I was really young. I could pass as older, and now I can pass as younger. That's great. But at the time, I said, I can do this if I, you know. So I did it. So that was the only time that I had a stint with acting in TV in Puerto Rico in a commercial that aired at 10:30 at night, and nobody saw, you know. But I had friends, because I would go somewhere like a club, and friends were like, "Te vi en la pantalla, chica. I saw you on the small screen."
That is hilarious.
So,
but, you know, like, that just makes me feel like acting was always around you.
yes.
No, you just
Always in the background.
Yeah, it was in the background, but it was also around you, and it was always there.
Yes.
It was just waiting for you to sort of realize and open, like, okay, I'm ready.
Yes. Yes.
And that's what happened with you at 15. And that's amazing.
Yes, it is amazing. It has been a great experience. I have met so many great people, amazing people that are supportive in the theater community in Milwaukee is it's not small. I wouldn't say it's small, but it's tight knit, and almost everybody knows everybody or have heard. Like if you mention a name, either you know them personally or you have seen them on stage, or at least you have heard of them. You know who they are. So it is amazing to have that network here. And we have some small community theaters. Like some people say, oh, community theater. But we have some community theaters that do excellent, almost like professional caliber work. So I'm very proud of having been part of these groups all these years, because it's an amazing journey and I love it.
Beautiful. I mean, acting in general, I wouldn't think it's an easy task. I mean, it requires time for you to learn the lines. It requires time for you to research the character, time to rehearse, time to meet and practice. Yes. It's a lot. I mean, my mom was an English teacher, but she also did a lot of theater. And I was always the child around and observing and even doing things with her. So, and I did a couple of theater plays as well, but I realized it's a lot of work. Even if it's community, even if it's community theater. No, people who look down, or people who think like, like they don't really know what's going on. They don't really know what's behind it and the amount of time and dedication that it takes for someone to do that. So, I think it's just wonderful. And so to that, I wanted to ask you, because you are a medical billing specialist. So, and then you are a mother.
Yes.
And, and then you have a relationship, right? You have your husband, you spend time together. What is it like balancing all of this and, being creative at the same time?
Well, my daughters, it helps that they're older now. They were still a lot younger when this journey started. But you just have to manage your schedule and make sure that one thing doesn't conflict with the other. Like I know that right now with my youngest daughter, I have to drive her to dance class at a different city, which is a 20-minute drive from here and 20 minutes back. So it's 40 minutes I just spend driving every time she goes to this. So when I audition for a show and they ask you for a list of your conflicts, I specify this night I cannot be at rehearsal for this reason. If they cannot deal with that, then they need to cast someone that doesn't have that conflict.
Right. Mm-hmm.
So you have to put your priorities in check when you do this type of thing. The other aspect of this is that when it's community theater, you don't get paid. You get paid in semi-professional and professional settings, but community theater is usually volunteer. So, and some companies, smaller theater companies will pay what is a stipend, which means that after they cover all their costs, what is left from ticket sales is split among the cast. So a lot of people question, why are you doing this with your free time if you're not getting paid? Well, I do it for the love of it. I don't do it for the money. So it's prioritizing and knowing what is it that you're doing that is good for you. It's self-care too. So I just, I know I work a certain schedule. If I know that I want to work on my character extra, I can either take some time off or some vacation and then work on that character. I tend to take off the afternoon of opening night when I'm opening a show, because that makes me feel more relaxed on opening night. So yeah, you have to juggle time between family and friends. And fortunately, my current husband is very understanding because he is in the same boat.
That's true. So that's how you met.
Yes.
So can you share with us a little bit about how when that happened, how that happened?
It is really funny because so I met him, as I mentioned before, my daughter had been involved in that theater playhouse before I started all of this. And when she was involved there, I volunteered backstage. And then I went and volunteered at the light booth for a show. And I was introduced to the director of this show, which is my now husband. But for 2 years, every time there was something at the theater that I volunteered or I went to see, I would run into this gentleman, and he never remembered who I was. Never.
I see.
Yeah, we met before. Remember me? Hi, He never remembered me until the one time when I was auditioning for Fiddler in the Roof. Then we saw each other, and he remembered me. And since then, we did Fiddler in the Roof, and then the week that we have Tech Week for Fiddler, there were auditions for a show he was directing, and they needed more adults because it had a big children's cast, but it didn't have enough adults yet. So we are in tech rehearsal for Fiddler in costume, and when it's intermission for that show, we went and a bunch of us went and auditioned for his show. So that's how I ended in a show that he directed. And we got to know each other. We became friends. And then when I separated from my husband, we became even more closer friends. And
the rest is history. Hey, it's the love of sharing things that you enjoy doing.
Exactly. And what would have happened if I had never accepted that role? My life would be completely different now. Because I'm not saying that my former husband was not supportive, but there's more support now. Let's leave it at that.
Beautiful. Love it. Yeah. So you have 2 daughters, right?
2 daughters. Mm-hmm.
It sounds like they're also creative. Are both of them? So of them. Was the oldest daughter the one that was doing the play? And then...
Yes. She did theater when our high school, the high school that they went to, did a production of Joseph and the Amazing Technicolor Dreamcoat. She auditioned and got a part in the children's choir when she was in 8th grade. And then since then, she did about 5-6 shows until 10th grade. And then she stopped because she became really busy with schooling and things like that. My youngest has been a dancer since she was really little, and has been dancing all she does ballet. And this year she has a really heavy load because it's her senior year of high school. So she has a really heavy load in her classes. So she's doing only ballet, which is twice a week. But for the last few years, she was going to dance class 3 times a week for jazz and tap and modern dance and all the dances. So really busy, and she's very disciplined. She's very talented. She's a beautiful dancer and very dedicated to the craft. She practices her choreographies for recital at home. She stretches every day, very dedicated. So yeah, they both have been, and they're good. They do visual arts too. They draw and paint.
So the whole package.
Yeah, the whole package. They're very creative, and I love it. I love that they are that way.
Are you worried that they might lose, contact with the arts? Had repeat the same story that you had, and then
no.
Or do you want to make sure? Like, are you planning to remind them, like, never forget, or how do you see them going into the world and using this?
I would love for them to stay in the arts. That's obviously something I love. And if they decide that that's what they want for their life, that would be great. But I try not to interfere. I am very much for breaking generational curses and not making the same mistakes our parents made or, older generations made. So I don't want to interfere. I don't want to tell them, do this or do that. You do with your life what you feel is best for you. My oldest daughter moved out east, and people ask me, how you feel about that? I'm like,
it's their life.
Children grow up and they have wings and they fly away. I did the same at almost the same age she did. So I cannot say, no, don't go. you have to grow and fly and be your own person. It's tough. Of course, I miss her. It's my daughter, but
well, she's really lucky to have you. I mean, and when you talk about family curses, and families intervening, it's very true, and
especially in our Hispanic culture.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, especially Hispanic culture, right? You're either a lawyer, a doctor, or a disappointment to the family.
Exactly.
So it's beautiful that you can be, a support for your daughters in a way that a lot of us would have wished to have.
Yes.
Right.
Yes, and if they, whatever they decide to do, I'm here for them. My door is open. They can do whatever. It's their life.
I love it.
Yes.
So we're running out of time, but I wanted to talk to you about Puerto Rico. And, in your bio, you said you hope and you wish going back at some point in your life, but you never did.
Yes.
Why is that? And do you miss your island? Like, do you ever maybe at some point when you retire, or is that no longer a dream?
So when I first moved here, the plan was go to college and then work a few years and then go back. A few years went by, I got married. And then when my stepfather was ill, I went to help my mother. My oldest daughter was not even 2 years old. And I spent 2 months in a summer in Puerto Rico after living here for a number of years. And after that time, those 2 months that I spent there, I decided, I don't think I can live here again. You get used to the lifestyle here and how things work and how the systems are in place in here. And life down there is a little different to me now. I love my island. I love my people. I will never forget where I come from. But I don't know that I can live there again. Again, never say never. Possibilities are, that I may change my mind in a few years when I finally decide to retire. But as it stands right now, I love to go visit. I love to go hang out at the beach. But I always want to come back. My life is here now. I've been here longer now than I was there when I was growing up.
That sounds like exactly what happened to me as well. I returned home. Didn't realize that, no, this wasn't for me, and then we'll back.
Yeah.
What is something that you want to share with people that are listening to us about Latinidad or about, Puerto Rico, being a Boricua in Wisconsin? What do you want to share with our audience?
So I will circle this back to the theater, because if anybody wants to try something new, like I did with acting, there's always two things that are, like for a person like me at least, are a little bit of, not an obstacle, but a little bit of a pebble on the road, is typecasting and the accent, okay? So as someone that moved to the States as an adult, if I ever wanted to lose my accent, I would have to work with a speech therapist. And sometimes that may work against me when I go for an audition. If the director doesn't mind that the role that they're giving me has an accent, fine. But in some cases, they do, or they want you to have a more Wisconsin accent, or they want you to have a Southern accent or a British accent. I've done British accents, and they turn out okay, but my accent, natural accent, still comes through. So I watched a special with Raul Julia. You know who Raul Julia is? He was in Addams Family. But before Addams Family, he was a famous Broadway actor from Puerto Rico. He grew up and went to school in Puerto Rico. And he said something in that documentary that really struck me, because I was already doing theater when I saw this. And he said, here I am, the first Puerto Rican actor doing Shakespeare in New York City with a Puerto Rican accent. And that totally blew me away. And I'm like, I don't worry about my accent anymore when I go to an audition. If they want me, fine. If they don't give me that role. I don't mind. It's okay. There's other roles. The other thing is typecasting. So in my last show, I was an immigrant from Europe. So because I have the accent, it was easier for me to get that role. From Europe, could be from Spain. So a lot of people from other ethnicities worry that they're only called when there's a character in a script that matches their ethnicity. And I say, why not? There's not that many roles that portray and embrace our ethnicity. So why not go and embrace that? If I get an opportunity, so if a director says, why don't you come and audition for me because I have a character that is Hispanic or speaks Spanish, then go do it. There's nothing wrong with that. It's better. You are showcasing who you are in that thing. So that's embracing where you come from. That's embracing your Latinidad. Just do the character that is going to show who you are.
Great. So for everyone listening, it's okay to embrace and it's okay to represent who you are.
Exactly.
And it's never too late to try new things.
Never.
Don't be afraid of your accents.
No.
Don't be afraid that people are going to reject you. I mean, some people might say no, some people might say yes.
Exactly. And that's something that comes with the territory of the acting, journey. There's going to be rejections, and that's fine.
Sandra, this was so wonderful. Thank you for sharing a piece of you with me. And thank you for talking to us about acting, about starting new things when you're older, sharing about your daughters, and letting us know that it's really important to be proud of where you come from and to never forget.
Exactly. Thank you so much for having me. It has been a joy to be here with you.
Thank you.